Let me tell you something right now. You were not put on this earth to chase people down and convince them of your worth. You weren't born to be somebody's afterthought. If you got to beg somebody to love you, if you got to constantly fight to be seen, if you're always pleading for respect, you're in the wrong room with the wrong people, and you're doing yourself a disservice. Let's get something straight. Love, attention, and respect. Those are not luxuries. Those are not favors. They're basic human requirements in any relationship, friendship, or connection. And if someone ain't offering you those things freely, without you having to earn them, like you on a job interview every day, then baby, they are not for you. Being mentally strong means knowing your value before anybody else confirms it. It means standing in front of that mirror, looking yourself dead in the eye and saying, I am enough. Not because somebody told you, not because somebody stayed, but because you finally understood your own power. Because once you realize who you are and what you bring to the table, you stop begging for a seat at tables that are too small for your spirit anyway. Stop texting first all the time. Stop waiting by the phone. Stop checking who viewed your story. Stop rewriting messages, hoping they'll reply differently this time. That's mental slavery. That's emotional poverty. That's weakness hiding in the costume of love. But real love, real attention, real respect, they don't ask you to shrink. They don't come with confusion. They don't put your peace up for negotiation. And they damn sure don't make you beg. I'm telling you right now, you want to be mentally strong. Start by walking away from anyone who makes you feel like you're too much. Start by not explaining yourself to people who already made up their minds about you. You don't have to argue to be seen. You don't have to audition to be chosen. The right people, the right situations, they see your worth from the start. They recognize your energy, your presence, and they cherish it. No begging, no pretending. You want to be strong. Be okay with being alone until the right person values your presence. Be okay with being misunderstood. Be okay with not being the favorite. Because you weren't born to be liked by everybody. You were born to live your truth. You were born to shine. But how can you shine if you always dimming your light just to fit into someone else's shadows? Let's go even deeper. When you beg for love, you teach people that your love is cheap. When you beg for attention, you teach people they can ignore you and still have access to you. When you beg for respect, you teach them you'll settle for crumbs. But when you walk away, when you say, nah, I'm good, and close that door with peace in your heart, that's power. That's strength. That's how you reclaim your dignity. So this is your wake up call. No more begging. No more chasing. No more breaking your back just to be seen. by folks who are blind to your greatness. Step into your worth. Love yourself so deeply that the idea of begging becomes laughable. Honor your soul enough to let go of what insults it. Because the moment you stop begging, you start attracting, you start living, and you start winning. Be mentally strong, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary, because you deserve better, and because the life you want, the respect you crave, the love you deserve. It all begins the moment you stop begging and start believing. You must recognize your own value without needing others to confirm it. That's where true mental strength begins. Far too many people live their lives as if they are waiting for a stamp of approval. Like they need someone else to say, "You matter," before they believe it. But the truth is, nobody is ever going to validate you in the way you truly need. Not consistently, not deeply, not forever. That kind of security has to come from within. Because if your confidence is built on the opinions, affection, or attention of others, then it's not confidence. It's dependency dressed up like strength. Mental strength isn't loud. It's not arrogance or pretending to have it all figured out. It's quiet, calm assurance. It's looking in the mirror and seeing value even when the world doesn't see it. It's knowing your worth before anyone else has the chance to define it. When you build your self-worth on what others think, you put your power in their hands. And people are inconsistent. One day they'll love you. The next they'll forget about you. One moment you're their favorite. The next you're being ignored. So if your self-esteem rises and falls with how people treat you, you'll never feel truly grounded. Think about how much of your energy goes into trying to prove yourself. Think about the mental and emotional toll of constantly wondering if you're enough. That's not strength. That's survival. And you were meant for more than survival. You were meant to thrive. But you can't do that until you start valuing yourself, even when no one else does. That means setting standards for how you should be treated. That means believing you are worthy of love and respect, not because someone else says so, but because you know it deep down. It's about changing your internal dialogue. When things go wrong, do you blame yourself? Do you question your worth because someone walked away or didn't choose you? If so, you're giving too much weight to outside forces. People walk away for all kinds of reasons, and most of the time it has nothing to do with you. Sometimes people don't see your light because they're blinded by their own darkness. That's not a reflection of your value. It's a reflection of their inability to appreciate it. You have to stop tying your self-worth to how people behave. Your value doesn't decrease based on someone else's inability to see it. Start asking yourself, if nobody complimented you today, could you still feel beautiful? If nobody responded to your message, Could you still feel important if nobody clapped for you? Could you still be proud of yourself? The answer to all of that should be yes. Not because you don't want those things. We all need connection, but because you're not dependent on them. You're not building your identity on unstable ground. You know who you are. You know what you bring to the table. And if someone can't see that, it's their loss, not yours. There is a peace that comes with knowing your own worth. You stop chasing. You stop begging. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable. Instead, you stand tall. You speak up. You make choices based on what you need, not based on fear of rejection or abandonment. You become unshakable. Because when you know who you are, you stop letting people who don't matter define your story. And let's be honest, there will always be people who misunderstand you, overlook you, even disrespect you. But when you have a solid foundation of self-worth, those moments don't destroy you. They don't control you. You see them for what they are, someone else's behavior, not a reflection of your value. That's power. That's freedom. And that's what it means to be mentally strong. So build your worth from the inside out. Be proud of who you are, even when nobody is watching. Be kind to yourself, even when the world is not. Know your value, hold your standards, and never let anyone else's inability to see your worth make you question it. You were never meant to be measured by others. You were meant to know your own weight and carry it with pride. Love, attention, and respect are not optional extras in a relationship. They are the foundation. If you have to ask, plead, or beg for them, then something is deeply broken. You should never feel like you're constantly campaigning for someone's time, affection, or recognition. The truth is, the people who genuinely care about you won't need convincing. They'll offer those things willingly because they value you, not because you earned it or pressured them into it. And when you truly understand that, you stop settling for half-hearted effort. You stop accepting crumbs when you deserve the whole loaf. There is a dangerous pattern that many people fall into. They start believing that their needs make them too much. They think asking for communication, consistency, or kindness is being demanding. So what do? They shrink. They silence their needs. They tolerate neglect and call it patience. They stay in relationships or friendships where they are constantly giving and barely receiving. That's not strength. That's self-abandonment. And the longer you do that, the more you convince yourself that you're only worthy when you're quiet, small, and convenient. Let's get real. If someone can go days without talking to you, without checking in, without making you feel valued, they're not confused, they're just not that invested. And if you keep showing up, overextending, waiting, hoping, adjusting yourself to be more lovable or more acceptable, you're not gaining love, you're losing yourself. Real love doesn't feel like a battle. Real attention doesn't leave you feeling drained. Real respect doesn't make you question your worth. The hardest pill to swallow is that sometimes you have to be willing to let go of people who can't meet your needs. And that's where mental strength really kicks in. You have to believe that you deserve better, even when it's painful, even when it's lonely. You have to stop choosing familiarity over fulfillment. Stop holding on to people just because they've been around for a long time. Time doesn't equal quality. Someone can be in your life for years and still never truly see you. On the flip side, someone who genuinely values you can show up in days and treat you better than someone who's been around for years. Why? Because presence isn't about how long someone stays. It's about when you truly start loving yourself, something powerful happens. You stop chasing what's not meant for you. You stop begging for the bare minimum and start attracting what aligns with your value. That's not magic. That's alignment. The energy you put out into the world always comes back. So if you keep approaching life from a place of lack, fear, or desperation, you're going to pull in situations and people that feed off that same energy. But when you shift into self-love, when you start operating from confidence and clarity, you naturally draw in people and experiences that mirror that strength. You don't have to chase anymore because what's meant for you won't have to be forced. Self-love isn't just about treating yourself to good things. It's about how you speak to yourself in your quiet moments. It's about the choices you make when nobody is watching. It's about the way you hold yourself to a higher standard. Not because you're trying to impress anyone, but because you know you deserve better. When you stop waiting for someone else to show you your worth and start showing it to yourself, your whole world changes. You walk differently. You speak differently. You stop showing up in spaces that don't make you feel seen. You stop answering calls that drain you. You stop saying yes when your heart screams no. And that's the moment your life starts to shift. A lot of people end up begging for love, attention, or respect because they haven't yet convinced themselves that they're worthy of it without earning it. They think they need to prove themselves to be lovable. But the truth is, real love doesn't require you to perform. Real attention comes without pressure. Real respect shows up even when you're not doing anything special. When you embody self-love, you don't tolerate inconsistent people. You don't wait around for someone to remember you. You don't beg to be prioritized. You become your own foundation, and anything added to your life must enhance it, not shake it. One of the clearest signs of self-love is boundaries. When you love yourself, you don't allow just anyone to have access to your time, your energy, your space. You start protecting your peace the same way you would protect something precious, because you finally see yourself that way. You realize that you don't have to overextend to keep people in your life. If someone is meant to be there, they will respect your boundaries, not challenge them. They will see your value, not test it. And when someone doesn't, you won't bend or beg. You'll simply let them go, not out of anger, but from a place of knowing that letting go is an act of self-respect. When you stop begging and start loving yourself, your standards change. You stop looking for someone to complete you and start looking for someone who complements your life. You stop giving energy to people who confuse you, who leave you hanging, who show up only when it's convenient. You begin to crave peace over chaos, consistency over excitement, and respect over attention. And what's beautiful is that the more you love yourself, the less you tolerate anything that disturbs your soul. This change doesn't happen overnight. It takes time to undo the damage of years of seeking validation outside of yourself. It takes strength to quiet the noise, to break the habits, to look in the mirror and say, I am enough, and actually believe it. But once you do, you become unstoppable. The things you used to tolerate will feel foreign. The relationships that once felt like home will feel too small, and that's okay. Growth often feels lonely at first, but the loneliness of self-respect is far better than the crowd that comes with disrespect. Eventually, the people who come into your life will meet you where you are. They'll love you for who you are, not for how much you can give, fix, or prove. You won't have to beg because you'll be attracting from wholeness, not from lack. You'll be living in a way that says, this is who I am. Take it or leave it. And the right ones would take it with both hands, without hesitation, without confusion, and without conditions. All because you finally decided to love yourself first, at how they show up while they're there. Begging changes you. It slowly chips away at your confidence. It makes you anxious, paranoid, desperate. It rewires your brain to constantly anticipate rejection or withdrawal. And then, even when someone good comes along, you don't know how to receive it. You're so used to fighting for love that you can't trust love when it's peaceful. That's why it's so important to break the cycle. You can't heal in the same environment that broke you. You need space to remember who you are without the constant need to be validated by someone else. This is not about arrogance. This is about dignity. It's about saying, I deserve a love that doesn't make me beg. It's about reclaiming your right to be treated like you matter. It's about understanding attention that comes after you cry, scream, or threaten to leave is not love. It's manipulation. Respect that only shows up when you've reached your breaking point is not real. It's fear of consequences. You deserve the kind of energy that sees you before you ask, hears you before you yell, and loves you before you fall apart. So the next time you feel the urge to send that last text, to justify your worth one more time, to stay quiet just to keep the peace, pause. Ask yourself, why am I fighting so hard to stay in a space that constantly makes me feel unworthy? What would happen if I just let go? Not to punish them, but to protect myself. Not to be cold, but to be clear. Because love, attention, and respect that must be begged for will never be secure. And you deserve secure. You deserve steady. You deserve more than effort you had to beg for. You deserve to be chosen freely, treated kindly, and respected without conditions. And the moment you stop begging, you open the door for all the things you actually deserve to find their way to you. Without force, without fear, and without apology.